I'm going to attempt to read 3 books in 24 hours, which may not be much for some, but for me, it's quite a lot considering I read about 8 books on average a month. The twist here is that I let Instagram pick the 3 books that I'm going to be reading without them actually knowing which books they were picking. I've seen Sarah Caroli do this a lot, so that is definitely where I got this idea from. So let's get into the stories and what I did. So the first story, you'll see we've got a football and a piece of like paper, writing paper, and then we have a sunset and a Canada flag. So this was in the romance genre, and the Canada flag and sunset won by literally a mile. We had 66% of the votes. And that happened to be Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I really wanted like a summer reread just to put me in the summer mood, and this is the one that won. The other option was The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams, which I've been meaning to get to forever, and it was really short, so I thought it was a good contender, but it did not win, so we'll be reading Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I've only read Meet Me at the Lake by her. Wasn't the hugest fan, but we'll see. And the second story, we have our little blue car truck situation and a clock, and then we have a pink heart and a little dog for our young adult romance genre. Once again, winning by a landslide, we have the pink heart with the dog, which is Borrow My Heart by Casey West. I got this in like a blind date with a book, and it just seems so cute, and it's nice and short, which will be perfect for this challenge. And I got the pink hearts, very clear reason, and the dog, also very clear reason. But the other book that did not get picked was The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. This is one actually I wasn't sure if it was a YA, but I just assumed because it's Lynn Painter, but I know she does have some adult romances that I have not read and I'm not sure about. But this was the other option. I went with the blue kind of like vehicle because I feel like that kind of matches, and the Do-Over, I did like the clock because I think she like repeats time, so I thought it made sense, but it did not get chosen today. And lastly, for the last book that we'll be reading in the 24 hours, it was our thriller category. So I had a like train with some rain on it. I felt like these were like the most obvious of all of them. And then we had a dying rose and a brain. So this one was a little bit closer, with 56% of the vote being the winner of the like rose and the brain, which was Do You Remember by Frida McFadden. I did the rose for, once again, obvious reason. It literally looks exactly like the emoji. And then I did the brain because I think this woman like has lost her memory. And for the train and the rain, it was The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, which is another one I've been meaning to get to for literally ever. It's one of my really good friend Bethany's favorite thriller books, but it did not win today, so we will not be reading it. So the 3 books that we're going to be reading for this challenge are Every Summer After, Borrow My Heart, and Do You Remember. So I feel like we got a good stack. I think I'm going to start with Borrow My Heart because it's going to be the shortest, so it'll like give me the belief in myself that I can do this, because I'm not very good at challenges. This is really short. I think it's like 260 pages. So realistically, I would love to finish this tonight, but we'll see because I'm a little tired. So I am actually starting this at night because I felt like a regular like 24-hour reading challenge, at least right now, is not gonna work for me. I need to sleep. I just moved. My body's tired. I'm tired. So I decided to start it tonight, try to get through 1 book, and then start it tomorrow. So my 24 hours will be up at like 8:30 p.m. tomorrow instead of today. So I'm gonna set a timer for 24 hours, and I'm gonna start that timer right now. So let's get to reading. I am gonna start with Borrow My Heart by Casey West. So let's get into it. Good morning. I did finish Borrow My Heart. Proud of myself. I don't know if I've ever read a book in one sitting like that. It's really nice outside, so I think I'm gonna make a coffee, come back outside, and then we'll chat about the book a little bit. I also did start Do You Remember by Frida McFadden before I went to sleep, I think I started that. I think I got like 12% in, so we're off to a good start. But we have just over 12 hours left of this challenge, so I really have to get to reading. So I'm taking the dog out, gonna go inside, wash my face, make coffee, and then I'm gonna come back outside and do some reading because it is really nice outside right now. If you hear dog noises in the back, it's the dog. Quick little update. So, got my coffee, a little more wide awake now, as you can see. Borrow My Heart was very cute. I'm gonna do like a full review of all 3 books at the end. Borrow My Heart was good. It was cute. It was weird. It's one of those books where like you had a good time. I read it straight through, obviously, but was it perfect? No. I'll get into it more later. Now we're reading Do You Remember by Frida McFadden. I'm actually really enjoying this one. It's a really cool concept, and it doesn't remind me of any of her other books yet, which I really like. And I've got a couple theories. After The Housemaid's Secret, I need this to be good. So we're gonna continue on reading. I've got like the whole setup here, so yeah, we'll see how much we can read outside. I just finished Do You Remember by Frida McFadden. So that's book number 2 of 3 done. We have 8 hours left on the clock to read Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I do have stuff that has to get done today, but my partner and I are driving down to the beach house. So I feel like that's the perfect place to sit down and read some of this. I'll probably read some on the way. I don't think this is that long. It's just over 300 pages. So I feel like it's super doable to do in the next 8 hours, but I am going to eat and then we're gonna get going and I'll keep you updated. But we still have 8 hours. Very doable. It is the next day and we did finish all the books, so let's go through my thoughts on each of them in the order that I read them. So starting off the night that I started the challenge, we did Borrow My Heart by Casey West, which I think this is like the first time I've ever actually like sat down and read an entire book without stopping, like not putting it down at all. And I liked it. It's exactly I think what you ask for with like a YA romance. Like this definitely read very young, like YA middle grade vibes, but I actually really did enjoy it. There's actually one quote specifically that I bent the corner, I dog-eared, just so I could read it to you. And I thought it was really funny. I remember laughing at this. So, I mean, this obviously like minor spoilers, but like it's a romance, so like how much of a spoiler could it be? I love you, I said against his mouth. He pulled back to look at me, our limbs still tangled together. I was supposed to say that first. I love you, I said again. Now you can only say it for the third time. How embarrassing for you. I think that's hilarious. This book follows a girl who's sitting in a coffee shop and a guy walks in with his friend and it looks like he's waiting for a blind date who appears to have catfished him. So she feels bad and ends up basically pretending to be the girl that he was talking to online and who's supposed to meet up with him. And they end up getting kind of caught in this like bit of a love dilemma. She works at this like animal shelter. I loved the animal aspect of this. I just thought this was a really cute book. I just wish there was a little more drama, but that's where you get kind of like the middle grade vibe, is there's less drama than like an adult book would have had in this situation. Overall, I gave this book 3 stars. It was a good time. Like, was it anything exceptional? No. I also felt like there was a very big thing that we never found out answers to, which I thought was strange, but unless I just missed it because I read this very late at night, I really liked it. I thought it was a great time. And now here's the thing, okay? So technically, I read these books in 24 hours and 24 minutes, but I'm giving myself grace because I also finished Two Twisted Crowns during this challenge. The night right after I finished this, I laid in bed and read like the last 10 pages of Two Twisted Crowns. So like that kind of counts, you know? It's almost like 4 books. So second, we read Do You Remember by Frida McFadden, and once again, a book I pretty much read completely straight without stopping. I started this right after that book. I read about, I think it was like 10% or 12% that night, and then I woke up the next morning, went outside and read some more, and I enjoyed this. This is really good. I gave this 4 stars. Do You Remember is about a woman who every single day she wakes up, her memory is completely wiped and she doesn't remember anything. She wakes up next to a man that she doesn't recognize, who is not the man that she remembers being with. She is locked in her home. She can't really like go anywhere. And all she knows is that she was in a car accident and suffered a very severe brain injury. She realizes very fast the people that she surrounds herself with or that are in her life are just not people that she feels like she can trust, and a lot goes down. Think 50 First Dates, the movie with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore, but in a thriller. The twist wasn't like anything crazy. My jaw didn't end up on the floor, but it was a very entertaining read and you're kind of wondering what the hell is going on the entire time. For a Frida book, like I really liked this. I thought it was very good. Very on par with the rest of her books. Now here's the thing. This is where things got challenging because both of these books had something very in common, and that is that they are very dialogue heavy and very easy to skim read, like very easy to read fast. Like I read both of these books fairly quickly for me. Like I'm not a fast reader. I'm usually like a 1 page per minute when I'm reading casually. When I'm reading in a challenge, obviously I can kind of speed it up a little bit, but when I'm reading certain books, I like to read slower. These 2 books were very easy to read fast because they were very dialogue heavy and very simple and very, not a lot of imagery, not a lot of setting. Like it was very simple writing. Then you get into Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, which for a debut, can I just say, this is a fantastic debut. Okay, Emily Henry said it right, a radiant debut. This was fantastic. I loved this book. Every Summer After was giving adult Summer I Turned Pretty. I thought this was done fantastically. Such an amazing debut. This book follows a woman who gets a call about something that happened in her home area, like a place that she grew up. So she needs to go back there, and there happens to be some men in the picture that she has history with from her teenagehood. So she has to go back home, and she basically gets a lot of nostalgia and starts to think about things, and you get a lot of time jumps in this. So you don't actually spend a lot of time in the now perspective. You spend most of your time in like the summer years of her teenage life. So you go back like 17 years ago, 16, 15, 14, 13, and 12. So you go back like all these years and you spend most of your time in these like summer perspectives. But you get to kind of see her relationship with the boys that she grew up with and the home that she grew up in. And I honestly, oh, it's so good. I'm giving this like a 4.25, 4.5 star for me. Like, I actually feel like it could be more, but there was definitely some moments in the book where I was like, But I will say, I think people hate on this book a lot because of like the cheating trope. But first of all, it is very open that this has a cheating trope. Like everybody knows this has a cheating trope. So like if you go into it knowing that and then you bag on it for it having that. I just don't really understand, because like, why'd you read it then? Like, you knew that that was going to be involved. But I really don't feel like it was overwhelming. Like, I thought we were going into this and it was going to be disgusting, but like, I really didn't find that. I found this like very appropriate for the age group that it's reaching, and like being an indecisive young adult / teenager, and like not knowing your feelings and not understanding them. Like, I thought that this was done fantastically, and I really love the amount of detail we get, but that's where this was hard for this challenge, because first of all, it is not dialogue heavy at all. It is very much inner monologue for most of this book. Like, the dialogue is very, very slim to none, and that made it a lot harder to like skim read. And I also found the amount of detail we're given and like backstory that we're given made this a lot harder to read quickly, and I didn't want to read it quickly because I just wanted to understand the characters and understand the setting. And as somebody who's actually from the area that they're talking about in this, like, I live generally like 2 to 3 hours away from where this setting was, I loved that I could actually like visualize it and see it and understand the places and the things that they're talking about. I overall like really enjoyed this book, but for this challenge it was a bit hard because I actually wanted to enjoy the book. I wanted to understand it and feel it and be there. Whereas these two books, it was very easy to just be fast and not really think about it. But overall, I really liked these. I gave this 3 stars, I gave this 4 stars, and I gave this one like 4.5 stars. So really, it was a very successful day of reading. I've never read that much in that short of a time, so I know that 3 books in 24 hours is not that impressive for many people. But for me, that is quite the accomplishment. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos. There will be more posted very, very soon. Thank you so much for coming and watching. I love you so much, and I hope you have an amazing day.